left and change, Bound for Glory will show. Will we get a good show? Will we get a good pay-per-view? Will we be excited after it's over? Honestly, I have no clue. And seeing this show, I will say they have progressed the show enough that they got 2 weeks left. Hopefully they'll give us something we can actually sink our teeth into. I did not get a chance to see the first 6 to 7 minutes of the show. The streams in my area did not want to start. But what I did catch was, you got Johnny M going up against Chris Adonis. That's the part I managed to catch. It didn't see the beginning of it. So I don't know what led into it. When this is all over, I'll see if I can catch a little bit of the beginning. But it probably was something that Eli Drake had set up. It had to be. So in the end, from what I saw, it was Johnny M. I'm not saying that word. I'm not saying it. Almost said it. He won it. Johnny won it. But in the end, Eli Drake came out to try and beat his ass up. And then we got a little bit of a surprise. Eli Drake getting his ass raped by Johnny M. He getting his clothes ripped off. I'm sure most of the women in there enjoyed that. And a few men as well. For me personally, seeing Johnny rip off Eli Drake clothes, ripping his ass almost down to his tighty whities, as they say, literally. I don't know if that was a good thing. Not a bad thing, but I don't know if it was a good thing to have them interact as much before Bound for Glory. I want to keep them as separate as possible. Let Eli Drake talk. Let Eli Drake, who was butt naked and then got his ass smacked with a belt that was from his own pants. Yeah. Of course he got back. Of course he beat the hell out of Johnny M. And of course he stood tall over him. But still, I think that might have not been the most wisest thing. Yeah, Eli could have still came in and beat his ass up. But he didn't need to have his clothes ripped off. It just made him vulnerable. That's just how I felt about it. Now, I gotta get this over with now. I must get it over with. I don't care about it. I don't want to care about it. But I gotta get it done. The Guido segment. The Joseph Park segment. It's in my face. So let me get this straight. You have Guido needing a visa. He couldn't get it done with Laurel Van Ness, who's a Canadian. He goes to Joseph Park, who we know doesn't have a firm, who is basically a wandering lawyer without a firm. He gets him a visa that he's holding on to, never got it, and then he's making work his ass off everywhere, collecting money from him. Then he's getting a car. He's getting women from last week. Now he goes to the ring and says, this is going to be the jury, the trial, and the execution of Joseph Park. And in the end, he confesses. What? For one, if you're going to go by storyline and reality, you got two things. You got wrestling reality and you got real reality. And they kind of go hand in hand to a certain point. You're telling me that Guido is that monumentally stupid that he wouldn't get something he's been craving, another visa to stay in the country, and he has never asked Joseph Park for it. And he never said, give me my freaking visa during the beginnings, the middle, or even here at the very end when he says, you're going to pay for it, wee man. And it's Joseph Park who says two things. One, I got your freaking visa. And he says, well, if you're a real man, you'll give it to me. Why didn't he say, where the F is my visa? Give me my damn visa. You wee man. You wee fat bastard. Nope. He says, give it to me. Then he says, you want it? Here's a contract for Bound for Glory. Sign it. You go up against me. You go up against me. You win, you get your visa. You lose, you're gone. He signs the damn thing, and then this is what happens in real life in wrestling, which kind of goes hand in hand. Not everyone, including myself, looks at the fine print. This is something a lot of people don't understand. That you get so fucked. And I've gone through it. It's sort of. You don't read the fine print. No matter how much you read the damn thing, you don't read everything. So supposedly, he's not going up against Joseph Park. He's going up against Abyss. You can see him in my face. I was about to make that face. You got him going up against Abyss. Now, you're going to have Brother Steven, I believe that's his name. I can't remember his name. I've only seen him twice. This time and before. Last year, when it was the, Final Deletion. That's when we saw Brother Stevens. I believe that's his name. And now we see him again here, which I said then. And I hope this is not a one-time thing again. Bring that bastard back. Let him be Abyss's manager. The guy started him out in not WWE, in TNA. GFW's different, so if you want to revamp I know he's not going to be there more than once. I wish he would be there. Brother Stevens, no, Father Stevens, not brother. I'm so sorry I said brother. I said Father Stevens. He should be with Abyss. Abyss should have the original manager he started out with for the simple reason that he sucks right now. Joseph Park is always funny to watch, but when it comes to Abyss, he sucks. So give him the original manager, kind of like what happened with The Taker and Paul Bearer. Sometimes you need the original guy that brings you in to make it work. It just does. But do I care? Only if Father Stevens comes back permanently. If he doesn't, this means nothing to me. I don't care. Fuck it. I'm sorry for the cursing. Now, we got Top Team. I got to get this over with. The Top Team segment and the segments beforehand. You seeing, what is the guy's name? Dave something. I don't even know his name because I don't really care about this. You know why? I did care months ago if they did it properly along with their regular product. They didn't do this properly because the product has been sucky because of how they've been working with the other promotions. So this Top Team segment, I didn't care about. But I won't lie. Seeing Bruno Sammartino's title meant something to me. The Road Warriors titles meant something to me. The original title that Ric Flair, had, that meant something to me. I didn't really care about Jeff Jarrett's dad's title. No offense. The title I wish he did have would have been the original NWA title that was for TNA. That actually would have made more better sense than Jeff Jarrett's dad's title that he got from AWA. Because we're talking about GFW. We're not talking about NWA. We're not talking about AWA. We're talking about TNA turning into GFW. That would have been a better type of title to see. The original NWA title that was before the first TNA title. That would have been better. That would have meant something. But we get a fight. We get a beat down of Moose and his partner. We get a beat down of a couple of X Division guys. And the end, they're in the middle of the ring. Do I care? Not really. Because the company has not been booking everything else properly, this fell apart. You got to understand some, ladies and gentlemen. No matter how wonderful the pie smells, if the rest of the pie, the filling tastes terrible, the crust tastes terrible, the presentation of the pie looks terrible, it makes no difference how nice it smells. No one's going to want to eat it, no matter how good it smells, if it looks like it's been buried under a rock and dogs have pooped on it. It makes no difference. That's the problem I see with the Top Team segment, with the Top Team angle going against GFW. No matter how it could be alright, everything else about the company has been a problem. And here's another thing. 2 matches, one from AAA, one from Crash. The AAA match, which was a fatal 5-way, which had Tiano, which had Phantasmo, which had Eddie, EC3, and James Storm. There was no build-up weeks before. This was all just so quick. It didn't really matter because we didn't even know what was going to happen. Maybe they might put it on Twitter or Instagram a couple of days before they're going to air this. But the problem is they don't do the presentation right. Give it a couple of weeks before you actually build up into it. It's not the point you tape it. It's the point if you know how to book it properly as you're taping this, it makes better sense. Now, I will say this about both matches and also what happened with OVE versus the Diamond Bros. It's pretty much the same thing. When it comes to the Crash company in Mexico as well, no build-up, no care. And I'll talk about that segment when it came to OVE in a moment. But I'm just going to say that no matter how okay it was to actually see a full match from each of these promotions, which if you're going to go down the NWA route, sooner or later you got to show these promotions. You got to show them. If you don't show them in full matches once in a while, it don't mean anything. But in this case, because they're showing so many matches, and a lot of times it's chopped up matches, and other times you're not even doing it with your own company. In other words, GFW's barely doing any matches. It's doing more of their matches and chopped up matches than anything else. It falls apart. So it was good to see two matches from the two promotions, and I was glad to see it. But because they've been booking their company and presenting the other companies so badly, it means nothing. And now OVE. Let me get this straight. Now, they won their match. I didn't see what they were going to talk about when it came to Conan. They wanted to talk to Conan and show him the titles one more time before Bound for Glory, which makes no freaking sense. One of those brothers say, this is kind of dumb, ain't it? Yeah, but we're going to still do it anyway. If the ones who are doing this say it's dumb, the characters of this storyline say this is dumb, and knowing full well it wasn't a good writing in the first place, why would you go there in the first place? The brothers even say it's stupid. The writers are literally laughing at us saying, you know what, we know this is stupid, but we're going to still do it and you're going to like it. Really? Really, they're doing that to my face and everyone else's. I want to go and meet one of the GFW writers. I don't care who the hell it is. I don't care if it's even Gail Kim who came up with this. I would smack the taste out of her mouth. And I don't want to hit a woman. I would never want to hit a woman. I don't. But figuratively, I want to smack the living taste out of her mouth because this is stupid. This is stupid. The writing makes no sense, and that made no sense. That story made no sense. It didn't. Now, it was Xavier versus Andrew Everett. I keep forgetting his name. Desmond Xavier, I believe. That's his name. I'm glad to see him finally. The second match he's been seen. He hasn't been seen on TV for at least 2 months. At least a month or easily 2 months. Not counting the match he had a couple of weeks ago. It was good to see him. But what are you going to do with the X Division? The staple of GFW should be the X Division. And it's not. Kind of like what happened with Neville. Look. I don't like bringing WWE into this, but let's be honest. Neville left because he couldn't stand not having anything. Can you blame him? The wrestlers of the cruiserweights are no different than the X Division guys in GFW. They show them once in a while. They give them no real storyline. No real prominence. Every time when it's a pay-per-view or a special event, they need them to trot them out. It's always a Destination X match. Or, what is it? Not only, I can't remember what most of the matches are. It's whatever they come up with. Just a big shock and awe thing. And it's so badly played out. I don't blame Neville for leaving. And to be honest, I don't blame most of the X Division guys not wanting to stay. If Sanjay Dutt left and Petey Williams left, I wouldn't be surprised them leaving. Because what do they have to care about when the X Division's not even prominently featured and it's just basic matches with no storylines, no feuds, no promo segments, nothing. I'm just saying. Now, what else did we have here in this show? That's pretty much it. I will say this about the Fatal 5-Way. At the end of it, Eddie Edwards is telling these guys to straighten out. That is Storm and EC3. Because they don't want to get beaten by Phantasmo again. And they don't want to get beaten by Tiano. Tiano did win that match. I didn't say it earlier. I should have. I'm sorry. But they want to try and say that AAA is not better than GFW. To be honest, they should drop this. Because it's not worth it keeping it anymore. Let's be honest. What are they gaining by doing it like this? They're not even all of them are GFW wrestlers. And they're not Crash or AAA wrestlers. That's their own wrestlers. It just feels like a lie. And I just don't like it. Maybe, yeah, when they're not taping, they will go to Crash and they will go to AAA. But as the tapings stand, they're still publicly working for GFW. It just doesn't feel like it works. Now, the last thing I'm talking about is Taya. I wish this match didn't happen. That's why I'm botching. Taya versus Rosemary should never happen. It wasn't that it was a bad match. I'm not saying that. I like Taya Valkyrie. She has good ability in the ring. Not great, but good. Then you got Rosemary, who has good ability in the ring. I'm botching because I didn't want to see this match. Look, Taya won that match. She shouldn't have. They should have had a count out. Both of them. There should have been a double disqualification. There should have been a DQ. Something. Instead of having one of these women win over the other. You got 2 weeks and a couple of days before Bound for Glory. Why did you have to have one of these women job? It would have been easier, and I know a lot of people didn't want to see a count out, double count out, or well, I don't want to see anybody disqualified, but it's the best way not for either one of them to job here. And then Rosemary says, when we go to BFG, I want a special... Why do I have a feeling that this is going to be a Full Metal Mayhem match? Or a extreme match or something? I doubt it's going to be something special. If it was in a steel cage, maybe. But it just feels like it's going to be something that could have been built over a couple of weeks. Easily. And this doesn't feel like it's built up properly. Particularly got a couple of weeks left. And it feels like it needs more than just a couple of weeks. With the two most dominant women supposedly in the company. And particularly, they're not showing Sienna. Not showing Gail Kim. They're not showing Allie. And now Terrence Terrell is not going to be in the match. So, it's going to be a three-way dance. And it would have been better. And wait a minute. Gail Kim smacked Terrence Terrell in the face. And now she's not cleared. Really? They went there with that? Now, if that really happened, really? Terrence Terrell is that fragile, getting smacked in the face, and now she can't work? I'm not saying this was a bad show. The last match of the night was good enough that you could watch it and you'd be alright with it. But I still said it should have been a double count out or disqualification, or better yet, no match at all. It should have been a fight, no match, and then you could have had Rosemary say there has to be a special match at BFW. I really hate that this happened. Oh. But this is just my point of view. You guys tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night. And look for my... I'm doing a Booker and Wrestler talking about Triple H. And what if he... And I'm saying this really good and really clear. If he owned GFW, what would he do with it? Peace!